Okay. Hey, if you're watching on Facebook, we're going to talk about potential tropical cyclone number 9 here. We'll zoom in a little bit closer down there to, it looks like Jamaica. Right here it is. You can see the convection. Now, this is not a tropical storm yet. It's potential tropical cyclone 9, meaning it will be probably tropical storm Ida soon. You have Cuba here, and the model's maybe a little too far off to the west developing this. By looking at it, it looks like you're seeing more of the convection trying to form a closed low here near Jamaica, and that track's going to take it over Cuba and then eventually into the Gulf of Mexico. And really in the Gulf of Mexico, we do expect intensification. Could be rapid intensification once it gets over the open waters. There's not a lot of wind shear, and the water temperatures are definitely warm, so conditions are very favorable for strengthening. Here are the latest computer models. As we can see here, the tropical models, as they take it there off to just east of Acadiana for the most part. The models have shifted a little farther east today, which is a good thing for us, but still they could shift a little farther west. But still, regardless, you can't focus on where the center line is, because you're going to see impacts well west of this. You're going to see impacts well east of this. If we're looking at a Cat 2 or Cat 3 hurricane, you could see hurricane force winds, 40, 50 miles to the east, maybe to the west of the center. So it's going to be a very close call for Acadiana. We're still kind of right on the fence, 50 miles west, and we're right in the middle of it. We'll look at the latest forecast track here from the National Hurricane Center, and they've nudged it a little farther off to the east with their latest update. Winds at 35. It's moving to the northwest at 14, so moving to the northwest fairly quickly. And you can see a Category 2 hurricane over Terrebonne Parish there, as what the Hurricane Center has it at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon. That's almost a Cat 3. Cat 3 status is a 115. But you see that track off into the eastern part of the state. This would not be that bad for Acadiana. It would be very windy, and we would probably have some downed trees and power lines, but it's better than it coming right over us. And have to keep in mind too, this may be a much stronger hurricane. Some models are really intensifying this, so it's not out of the question. We could be looking at a Cat 3, maybe a Cat 4 hurricane. Another thing to point out is if it moves farther west toward us, it's going to have more water to work with. So it's going to take it longer to get to the coast. So, and that's one reason the landfall is now a little bit earlier, because they have it over the eastern parts of the state, which it gets to land quicker. So if you have any interest across the eastern parts of the state, late Sunday to Monday, definitely keep this in mind. Right now, we're expecting a Cat 2, maybe a Cat 3. Like I said, not out of the question a Cat 4. Another thing to point out, hurricane models are very notorious for underestimating hurricane strength. So the models, may go a little weaker, and it ends up being a stronger hurricane. Like I was saying, there's really not a lot to slow this thing down once it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. So it's something to take very seriously right now. It's hard to say whether Acadiana will get a direct hit. There's a chance of that, but I will say things are improving in that aspect, that the models have shifted a little further east. But of course, I've seen that before, then everything starts shifting back to the west, and we still got 3 days to watch this before we have a very good idea, where it may go. We should have a pretty good handle on it tomorrow and Saturday, but still, if we're right on the edge of it, the error of uncertainty just 6 hours out can be 30, 40 miles. 30, 40 miles to the west can make a huge difference in a situation like this. I'll feel much better about it if I see more of an easterly shift with the model runs coming out. The next GFS model comes out at 4:30, and it was the one that started the shift to the east yesterday, and it's been pretty consistent with an easterly shift with landfall across the eastern parts of the state. So we'll see if that next model run continues that trend. But that's what we're looking at right now. We'll take a look at the track one more time from the National Hurricane Center. And more than likely, we're going to see this as Ida once it's named. Really depends on if that system in the Atlantic is named, but more than likely it's going to be Ida once we get a name for it. It looks very similar to the Gustav, which hit Labor Day 2008. It came in, made landfall with winds at 110 miles per hour near Cocotree, Louisiana, almost in the exact same location where the Hurricane Center has this one making landfall. But it moved to the northwest across the Chaffly River Basin and then eventually over Opelousas. And I know there was a lot of damage up in the Opelousas area, winds up there, at hurricane force. It was still a hurricane when it got to St. Landry Parish. This one seems to be turning more to the north, which would be better for us. What we don't want to see is it come in to Vermilion Bay and move right up the heart of Acadiana. And you can see we are in that cone of uncertainty. It's starting to look a lot better for Lake Charles. That is very good news for them. But still, they're right on the edge there. Texas looking a lot better for them. Models yesterday had some of them had it going to Texas. But right now, it's just too close of a call for Acadiana to let our guard down. And like I said, even if it takes this track, we're still going to see impacts. We could easily see winds, as high as 60 to 70, maybe 80 mile per hour wind gusts. Now, the good news is we'll be on the west side of this. If this is the case, take it at face value. That would really limit the storm surge, and we'd be on the better side of the storm. We wouldn't have to deal with all the tornadoes and stuff. That's the way it is. I'll have another update coming up on KLFY News 10 at 5, of course 6, and the new model data should be coming out by then, and we'll be looking at that. The National Hurricane Center will put out their new model data, or I should say their tropical forecast here at 10 o'clock tonight. So I'll have that latest at 10. We'll see if they nudge it farther west, a little further east. So stay tuned, and we will definitely keep you up to date as we head through the next couple of days. Looks like things look a lot better by Tuesday into Wednesday, the worst of it late Sunday night into Monday. From the live Doppler 10 Storm Tracking Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Heath Morton.